What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Saturday in Athens GA podcast. My name is Marshall Barton, and today is the second real episode of the off season. It's been about a month since I recorded the last one of these, so we've got a lot of stuff to go over today that's happened since mid-January. So we're just going to go and get straight into it. But the bad news first is what we're going to go for. Chris Cole and Darren Ikenabon were both arrested this past Wednesday night in Athens. And you guessed it, for reckless driving and speeding. Darren Ikenabon was also arrested for following too closely. But I figured I'd go ahead and get this part out of the way. Obviously, it's getting really old and it's really annoying. And I'm not just singling out Chris Cole and Darren Ikenabon for what they did. Though, again, obviously, they shouldn't have done what they did. And they're getting probably a lot of the criticism they deserve for those actions. But they're still young men who have made decisions. Bad decisions and bad mistakes, but they'll grow from them. So I say let's not beat them up for it too much, but also call it what it is. It was a stupid decision. That's what it was, and they know that. But again, they have second chances. We give people second chances around here. I'll get a little bit more into the specifics of both of these cases, but I want to read their statements first to you. That they each released after their arrest this was released either Thursday or Friday during the day. This is Chris Cole's address here. He says, "I want to address the situation from yesterday in Athens. I recognize the seriousness of this matter and the responsibility that comes with representing the University of Georgia and our football program. I understand that there are high standards for how we conduct ourselves, and I take that responsibility very seriously. I deeply regret the impact and negative attention this has caused for my coaches, teammates, and family. As I continue to grow and develop as a young man, I am focused on making better decisions and learning from every experience. I respect the process and will cooperate fully as the matter is reviewed. I remain committed to upholding the values of our program and conducting myself in a way that reflects positively on my coaches, teammates, family, and the fans who supported us so passionately." That's Chris Cole after his arrest Wednesday night. And then here's Darren Ikenabon, who had a similarly formatted note. They both posted these to their Instagram story Thursday. And before I get into Darren's, I just want to say, again, bad decisions by both of them. I'm not supporting those decisions at all. I do respect the way they're taking accountability for it and going and giving a public statement on it. But here's Darren Ikenabon's. "I want to apologize for my actions and the poor decision I made yesterday in Athens. As a member of the University of Georgia football team, I recognize that my behavior fell short of the standards expected from anyone who represents this program. Our coaches always preach responsibility and accountability, and I regret not living up to that standard. I'm truly sorry for disappointing my coaches, teammates, family, and our incredible fans. This has been a tough and embarrassing lesson for me, and I'm committed to learning from it, making smarter decisions, and earning back your trust through my actions moving forward." So, again, I respect the way they have handled this since then. Still very disappointed in the actions itself. One question that I've gotten several times about this matter, these arrests, what's with the number on the bond? And I don't really have much data for what an average bond looks like for reckless driving or speeding or any of that sort of stuff in Athens. I can tell you that I looked up the Georgia, like Georgia's average bond or fine for reckless driving. It was the bond really, and what I saw was like hundreds of dollars, hundreds to 1,000. So I do think it's pretty weird that Chris Cole's bond was $26 and Darren Ikenabon's was $39. I'm not trying to imply that law enforcement was being too strict with arresting them or anything like that, or even trying to give them like a sweetheart deal for a smaller bond. But it is weird to me. I don't know the full specifics of how they usually go about that in Athens. I couldn't find any data on it, but it has been brought up to me. And again, not as much context and understanding of how they run those bonds in Athens, but I do agree that for that many things that they did and the speed that they're accused of going, that low of a bond is just kind of weird to get arrested on, or at least I would think that without any previous knowledge there. Again, not a legal expert on that, but that's just how I see it. Last thing I'll say about it, I think they deserve a second chance. They'll get a second chance, and I believe they'll make the best of it. And if this happens again, then I think Kirby's made it pretty clear repeat offenders with stuff like this are probably going to be off the team. That being said, I don't expect that at all. But again, appreciate their statements. They've got to do better, and they know that. On to some better news. And again, less. I don't even know how to word it at this point. Less disappointing news. Let's go with that. The GDay game, the spring game for Georgia, is happening this year. There's been some talks among fans and I'm sure administration alike as to whether this was going to happen or whether it should happen. Obviously, in the current landscape of college football, in the transfer portal era, NIL era, sometimes there can be some downsides to airing your talent out, throwing your talent out there on a field for a spring game because other teams can go see what you got and try to poach those players. I hate it. I'm not trying to say that every other team watches our spring game when it's televised and does this, but it's a true potential problem now in the day of college football. But it will be the Georgia GDay spring game will be on April 18th, 1 p.m. Eastern. And one thing that I'm very excited about, and I'm sure most of you are too, finally not a Masters Saturday. I believe the last 2 or 3 years, they kept scheduling the GDay game for Masters Saturday. And obviously, I'm a much bigger Georgia football fan, much bigger Georgia fan, much bigger football fan than I would ever be anything golf. That's without question. However, I really want to watch the Masters Saturday because it's still awesome and it's still Georgia. I'm glad they did this. I don't know if there's any coordination there to make sure it wasn't on a Masters Saturday, but I appreciate that. But the other point I want to get at here is let's just enjoy GDay while we have it. Because again, with the landscape of college football, we don't know how much longer we're going to get things like GDay for more fan experiences like that. I know we've got some really cool things with Glory Georgia coming up, the new NIL fund or account, I guess, fan experience for Georgia. But that's just what I wanted to say. Enjoy GDay while we have it. These spring practices begin on Tuesday, March 17th, and that spring practice period concludes with the game on April 18th. It's going to be great to be back between the hedges, I believe. Obviously, we all have a very sour taste in our mouth from the Ole Miss game, that final playoff game. I'm excited to see what the squad looks like for next year for Georgia football. So again, April, we will be seeing the Georgia Bulldogs back between the hedges. I highly doubt it'll be televised. I don't think there's been an official word on that. It wasn't televised last year, and I'm sure Kirby had something to do with that for sure, if I had to guess. But yeah, I'm very excited to see the GDay game. Moving on a little bit. We've got some coaching news. We've got 3 coaching updates, analyst updates I really wanted to mention in this episode. First of all, Georgia's new offensive line coach, Phil Rauscher, who I did speak about in the last episode, is being pursued by the Raiders, by Clint Kubiak, to join their new his inaugural staff as the run game coordinator. Obviously, I spoke on Rauscher the last episode, and I'm very impressed by his resume. And again, his track record's fantastic. In the NFL, he'd keep going places, keep getting promoted, would keep getting offensive line coaching jobs. So I'm excited to have him. As of now, it sounds like he'll stay at Georgia instead of going to the Raiders. Would anyone blame him for that? Unless he's getting a lot more money? Probably not. I don't know why you'd go to the Las Vegas Raiders over the University of Georgia, unless you're just a NFL sort of guy, or again, they're paying you a lot more money. But I do think he'll be back. Again, Stacy Searles stepped down as the offensive line coach this offseason. He'll stay with the team, but he'll no longer be the offensive line coach. But I expect him to stay. As of now, I hope he'll stay. He's got a fantastic resume, and we'll see what that offensive line looks like next year. Second coaching update for Georgia here. We have hired Larry Knight as the outside linebackers coach after Chidera Uzo-Duribe's his leaving for the Dallas Cowboys. Larry Knight, this hire excites me. This hire really excites me for Larry Knight. He's a pass rush specialist. That's what he's been coined as. He spent time at Temple and Arkansas State recently as a coach. He played at Central Michigan. He's actually from Augusta, Georgia. I believe he also coached at Georgia Tech at one point. So he's got some good Georgia roots here, some good Georgia ties, I believe. What's great is he was just hired by West Virginia in January, and we went and we were lucky enough to poach him last week from West Virginia. So, again, I'm very hyped for this hire of Larry Knight. He led Arkansas State to 39 sacks last year. I believe that was his first year at Arkansas State. I can't confirm that at the moment. He was, again, that's first in the Sun Belt for sacks last year, 6th in the NCAA. So again, he had 39 last year, or Arkansas State had 39 last year. And for context, we had 20. And a lot of the year, at least before the second bye week, we were sitting at like eight sacks. I'm excited for Larry Knight. I think he's a lot of what Georgia needs heading forward. We need some finesse on the defensive line, need some real pass rush. I think we'll get it with him. I'm very excited for that hire. The third hire, not a coaching hire, but an analyst hire that I'm really excited for. Please welcome back former Georgia Bulldog Maurice Smith to the defensive staff. He was, again, hired as a defensive analyst. Most of you probably know him, Georgia faithful, through his pick six against Auburn in 2016. Georgia upset the number 9 team in the country, Auburn, 13-7 in Athens. A lot of that due to that pick six that Maurice Smith had. So he followed Kirby from Alabama to Georgia in his senior year. And again, had that fantastic big play. So I thought it was really cool. Wanted to mention it, and welcome back Maurice Smith to the University of Georgia. One really interesting note that I wanted to mention from around the country is Trinidad Chambliss getting an extra year in college football. I have to admit, the way Trinidad handled that last game, or not his last game, but our last game, came up to Gunner, dapped him up, told him great game on Gunner's way to the locker room. To be fair, Austin Simmons did the same thing for Ole Miss. But just seeing the way Trinidad carries himself, I have nothing against him. I'm not upset that he got the year for that, but also just because, I mean, it just doesn't really bother me that much for him. He would not have gone as high in the draft as he deserved to. Guarantee you staying another year, he'll really help his case. There's also some specifics from Ferris State and like how he didn't declare the right year or whatever, or at the time to get an extra year through a red shirt or JUCO year or whatever. So that doesn't really bother me that he got it. It's more so how he got the year. There was a judge from Ole Miss that graduated from Ole Miss that granted Trinidad Chambliss an extra year of college football. I don't understand how we can do that. He applied for an extra year to the NCAA. It got denied. He appealed it. That got denied. So then they got a judge that, again, graduated from Ole Miss to grant him an extra year of eligibility in college football. That shouldn't be possible. It just shouldn't be. It's gotten to such a far point. It's gotten out of hand as far as player eligibility. If we're doing this, who's stopping Kirby Smart from going and finding the best lawyer that he knows that graduated from the University of Georgia to go sue for an extra year of eligibility for Stetson Bennett and Nick Chubb and Sony Michel and every other dog legend that is out of college eligibility? I don't know why that's not happening yet. We know there was an Alabama basketball player that came back and played for them. I don't know if he had played for them before, but he was like in the G League. I don't know, honestly, like what's stopping teams from bringing back professional players that have an extra year of eligibility at this point. But again, it's really gotten out of hand. Again, good for him. Not upset that he got it. It's more so how he got it. And the precedent that sets for college football is pretty both embarrassing to me and just quite concerning for how that's going to play out heading forward. Before we head out, I wanted to start back the scripture note, faith note. As you guys know, this is a Christian page. I stay away from politics or any of that other sort of stuff, but it is a Christian page. I'm a Christian, and I like to bring my faith into the end of these episodes, or at least at some point in these episodes, to try to speak some truth into y'all's lives and just help you on your walk with Jesus. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of the stuff I've got laid out here for today. The topic for today is boldness. And before I get into boldness, I had another note here. I want to try to make these a little more structured heading forward, and just a little more in depth, but at the same time, I wanted to get something to you guys. So this is what I got for today, is boldness. I don't know if I'll start like a series or something, or a continuing theme for these segments right here, but again, topic for today, boldness. I've got 2 verses I want to read you. The first one is Ephesians 3, or chapter 3, verse 12. Which says, in him we have boldness and confident access through faith in him. Then I've got 2 Corinthians chapter 3, also verse 12. Since then we have such a hope, we act with great boldness. And the point I really wanted to bring up here with this, be bold in your faith in Jesus. Some people are going to be intimidated and are intimidated. And I mean, we've probably all faced moments of intimidation with being out loud and bold and outspoken with our faith. Because, I mean, the world's very judgmental, but the point I wanted to bring up is what these verses tell us is that our hope and faith is in Jesus. He'll protect us from anything that we may face, and we should be outgoing with our support and bold in our faith in Him towards others. And another thing I have on here, a way to look at it is, since He protects us and is with us every step, there's nothing we should fear. There's nothing we should fear at all, no matter what people might try to say or do with respect to your outspoken faith and your boldness. Just know that you have security in Jesus. And another thing that I really love and need to do a better job of myself is, we're not called to live comfortable lives as Christians. We're called to live lives for Jesus and outpouring faith in Him, and just being outspoken about our faith and being loud about what we truly believe, because we're commanded to love God, love others, and make disciples of all nations. So, I just wanted to bring up the idea of boldness to you guys, and hopefully encourage you to be bold with your faith. Anyway, that's it for the episode today. A little shorter than I anticipated it being, but we got some good stuff going on with Georgia football, some interesting news around college football. But go Dogs, everyone. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.